Okay, so I figured I'd do a video on upgrading my hermit crab tank. I've got 3 hermit crabs, the one you guys have always seen on my channel, and this is the tank they've been in for about 5 years, and I haven't had any die, knock on wood. And yeah, so I'm upgrading from a 10-gallon to a really big 20-gallon, and I think they're gonna really like it. This is what it looks like inside. It's kind of dirty and I needed to clean it out anyway, so I figured may as well just redo the whole thing since I was gonna do it anyway. Okay, let's get started. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but I'm basically taking all of the shells out and all of their accessories, and I'm gonna boil it in water for a couple minutes just to kill any bacteria or anything, and just basically clean off everything that they play with or, you know, move into their new shells and stuff like that. And just always be sure that none of your crabs are in any of the shells you're boiling. Obviously check them and double check them and check them again. I obviously know that my crabs, I've got 2 right here, obviously they were kind of just digging around, and then I've got a tiny one. He's really little, he's in here somewhere, which I'm gonna be boiling these too, so make sure that they're not in the plant, which I have my 2 big ones. Again, I know where they are. Now I'm just looking for my little one. I think I see him. Yep, there he is back there. And no, they're not molting. Otherwise, I would not be doing this right now. I made sure that they're all just doing their normal thing. You can see it's so dark, sorry. There we go. That's my littlest one, and you can see he's really small compared to the 2 big ones. And that's all of them. Okay, so I'm gonna go boil this stuff, and then so another thing I want to talk about really quick before I go and boil all of these is you want to have a huge variety of shells. Okay, these are the shells that were already in there, and these are the ones that I have extra that I alternate. I try to give them the best variety as possible, and I swap the shells out. So this was from the last time I cleaned out the thing. I'm gonna boil them again, even though they were boiled before they were put up, and I'm gonna boil the ones that were already in there as well. And basically I'm gonna just kind of pick which ones I want in there now for this new tank, for the new clean. But it's just really important to have like a really good variety. My crabs are really picky, and it's kind of challenging to get them to change into a shell, but they do it when they're ready. It's my littlest one, he's never changed. He's in the same shell he was in when I got him. And I have a lot of like smaller, medium-sized ones that he could, you know, gradually get into. He's just so picky. But a little thing on shells, I find that my Hermies love these type shells, not the long ones. They don't care for these, but I do give them the option. They don't like the sharp ones, but this one has a really good hole. Like, you want a really round opening, kind of like an eyeball, but just always a little bit bigger than the one that they're in right now. And so all of these are like that. You don't want anything with a narrow opening. Anything with a big, solid, round opening, and then usually a pretty short butt. I don't know what this is called, like the real term for it, but a shell that, you know, is pretty short, hefty, and a really good round opening. At least that's what my Hermes prefer. And again, I've had 3 of them for a little over 5 years. Okay, so far I have just given them some new sand. I use the uncolored calcium sand you can get, but I always get the one without the color and coloring and all that crap, just because I feel like it's anything closest to what is, you know, you would find at the beach or wherever they're from. So I just get the white calcium sand, and it's important for them to have this because it makes their claws stronger. But as you can see, this is the fresh one that I just poured. It's really nice and level and good. I just use Tupperware dishes because they're large and shallow, and they can get in and out of them really well. And I build all of the dirt or the eco fiber substrate up against the side of it so they can get in and out easily. But I want to show you, new kitty, I want to show you their old one. This is the one that was in their aquarium. I have not changed this in months, probably 4 months, because I don't have to clean their tank that often. I can kind of spot clean it, but their sand has always been in this little container, and as you can see, it's really dirty. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, this is the substrate that I choose to use. This is Eco Earth, and it's basically just a really dark fibrous, mulchy type substrate, but it holds moisture really well, I find. I also bought this today, which I'm gonna put in there too, because when I first got them, the first probably 2 years I had them, they were just in bark. I didn't have any of this like coconut bark, or I'm sorry, the forest bedding type stuff. I just had the coconut bark, and they did really well with it, but I found that it really wasn't holding moisture. So I slowly started adding in this one, this right here, this substrate, and they really took to it really well, and I found that they really liked to dig in this, even though it's messier for me, and it gets all in the sand, as you can see here. That's like a mixture of little poopies and a little bit of the substrate, but they really like it. Okay, so my husband had a really good idea to keep them from stressing out too crazy, because I really don't want them to like stress out and panic and die because I'm switching them to a whole new environment. Even though I'm using the same plants, shells, bowls, and things like that, and the same type of substrate, it is going to be a new aquarium, and it is going to be a lot larger, and I really don't know how they're going to take to that because I've never switched them to something larger before. Obviously, they've been in this for like 4 or 5 years. But he said to mix a little bit of the old substrate in with there so their smell is already in the tank or whatever, and I think that's a really good idea. So I'm going to do that. Just probably like literally 2 or 3 handfuls of their old substrate, because it is dirty substrate and I don't want it all in there. But he is right, that would kind of give them their same smell they're used to, so I'm going to do that. And I'll show you what this looks like whenever I get it more filled up and all that junk. Okay, so one thing I want to show you that I do, these little rubber sticky things that come with the plants you get, which I only do artificial plants for my hermit crabs because I don't want to take any chances of anything being toxic to them. Basically all I do is, and I attach strings, like I just tied string around, and then I tape it to the back of the aquarium. It doesn't hurt them or anything. This doesn't fray. It's really tightly wound, and I just use like regular Scotch tape. I did use duct tape, but it ruined the aquarium back, as you can see. I just want to show you that's how I hang my plants, because that's the only way that I've found that really works. And this might be really dark, so I'll use flash next time, but I just wanted to show you that's kind of how I do my fake plants. Okay, so I'm almost done with it, but not quite. Just wanted to show you what it's looking like. They're still just crawling around in here. They pretty much hang out together. They're doing pretty good. I don't think they're stressed out, which is good. But this is what the tank looks like thus far. I have the coconut husk, which they're used to, don't worry. I only did 1 dish for the sand because this is a larger dish than they had before, and I find that they really don't go in the sand much. They kind of trek through it and then they leave it alone. They don't dig in it at all ever, so I just did 1. If you want to know how deep it is, this is actually a little bit deeper than this black lid, but they don't really bury in the coconut husk anyway, so it's only about, I would say, 1.5 inches deep. But over here is much deeper, as you can see. That's my finger, and then it starts about right here, and that's probably a good 2.5 inches deep. I know a lot of people do it like 4 inches deep or 5 inches deep and crazy stuff, but my little guys are very, very small. They're not big, and it's nothing for them to bury. And actually back here, it's a whole lot deeper. Like if I stick my finger down in there, my entire finger is gone, sticking straight down, and that's probably 3 inches. So it's a lot deeper in the back, underneath the bushes, which is what I like, because that's where they love to hide, behind underneath the trees and stuff. I bought this fake plant today, and it's really, really tall and kind of top heavy. So I secured it, taped a string around it. I tied a string around it, and then I looped it up and taped it to the back, as you can see back there, just to make it to where it's really sturdy, because they make a mess in here climbing on stuff, and they will knock this over in a heartbeat. So it just made it really secure. But they'll absolutely love that tree. I just can't wait to watch them climb it. Okay, so once I finish this completely, with I think just the shells, which are cooling off because I boiled them, and the bowls, that'll be the last 2 things that I put in here. Okay, another important step, I am building up the humidity. So I've already dumped a little bit of water into the substrate just to get it really, really wet, and then I misted the entire thing really, really, really well moist, because I really want to build up the humidity before I put them in there, since it is all new substrate and everything. It's not in the least bit wet, so I just wanted to build that up a little bit. Okay, so this just looks like 1,000 times better. I really love it. I think that it's awesome, and it's so much better than that other one, and it's the exact same height, so they didn't lose any height, which is what it kind of makes it look like because it's long, but it's literally the exact same height container. It's just a tank that's twice as long width-wise, which is what I wanted, as well as the width of this part is actually a lot wider, which I was worried they weren't going to have as much depth, but I'm just extremely pleased. Okay, so I didn't talk about pricing on this because I didn't get to buy it in a set. None of the pet stores in my entire city had this entire tank set up, so I had to get the aquarium separate from the hood. The hood I ordered from Petco. It was $34.99 on the website, and the aquarium was discounted for, they had a sale going on, $1 a gallon, so it's 20 gallon long, and it was $20 basically. Normally it's $40, and normally that is $50, so normally it's $90 for this whole set, and I paid $34 and $20, so about $55 for this whole thing, which I'm pretty pleased with. I was glad that I got a good deal on it. The plant that I bought today was $14.99. Those normally run anywhere from like $8 to $12, but again, I've had those forever. And then of course, you know, substrate and all that stuff is pretty pricey. So it's not that bad. I only clean it about maybe 3-4 times a year, and that means like once every 3 months or something like that. It's not that bad. But this is what it looks like. It looks really good right now, actually. I'm pretty pleased with it. Very similar to their old layout. I really wanted to make sure they had a very similar layout because, again, I don't want them to be super stressed out. I want them to be familiar with it. So it's basically the exact same layout as last time, except they have a lot more room, which I'm really happy with. So once I get the food in there and I build up this humidity really good to where it's like really steamy looking, and then I get them in there, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, so I want to show you what I do for their food really quick. This is the portions I give them. This is for all 3 hermit crabs, and I switch this out. I know everyone does it or says they do it daily, but they do not go through this daily, and none of this is fresh. Like, it's all like packaged and dried, and even the vegetables. So I mist it down with water, 1 spritz, and then I put it in there, and I swap it out twice a week, which is every 2 days generally, about every 2 days, 2.5 days. So I'll swap it out, and usually by then all of this, and especially the dessert, which is the tiny little bit right there, it's like a coconut powder treat. They absolutely, oh, strawberry powder treat. Well, it smells like coconut. I think it's coconut in it too. Yep, coconut milk powder, honey, and strawberry. This is like their most favorite thing, but it's very sweet, so they only get a little bitty bit of it, and literally it's that much, and it'll be gone tomorrow. But this and this generally is almost completely gone after 2 days, and then there's always some of this left over because they really don't care for the green beans. And that's this All Living Things dried veggie mix. I've seen different brands of this, and this is probably this bag lasts forever, but this is like the 3rd bag I've gone through in 5 years. Like I said, this lasts me almost a year, and this is the 3rd bag. This is the 2nd container of this. This goes bad pretty quickly, and I don't want to risk, this goes bad in 2017, so I'll have to swap this out within the next few months. This is my 2nd box of this in about a year and a half. This lasts a pretty good while. I give them this pellet food. I want them to have a lot of variety, so I do give them 4 different things. And if I can remember, I give them fresh fruits and vegetables, usually like a slice of carrot or a slice of strawberry. But I'm so scared I'm gonna forget to take it out because I do not tend to them every single day. I only tend to them about twice a week, and that means, well, the water I'll change out more than twice a week if it's filthy, but if it's not dirty, I just leave the water, I leave their food, literally 2 times a week. That's all I do, and then I spot clean if they get any food outside the bowl. That's my routine, and it's worked for me for 5 years. So again, I'm not changing anything about my routine, and I really do take really good care of them. So I love them, and I've had them for so long. So the last thing that I use is this variety diet. I wasn't sure about this when I got it because I don't know, I just kind of felt like it was kind of gross because it looks like it has little, it looks like mealworm. Shrimp. Okay, so rice bran, shrimp, wheat, fish meal, alfalfa. There's like a lot of stuff in this, so I guess this really is pretty good for it. But yeah, so anyway, those are what I give them, and then of course this is their water. Never tap water. This is distilled water, always. And that's the only kind of water that I give them, and I just fill this bucket up, this squirt bottle, and I let it sit for over 24 hours, and then I use it. 2-3 days, I'll just soak it down really good, and that's fine. Again, bathing them, I didn't talk about, but bathing them.